guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Johanna, and for those of you who are new here, welcome. And for those of you who are returning, welcome back. Here on my channel, I do planner and planner related videos, DIY tutorials, budget videos, and the occasional new release video of items that I've listed to my Etsy shop. And if that is of interest to you, please consider subscribing to my channel. And if you hit that little notification bell, you'll always be notified of when I load a new video. Commenting, liking, and sharing on this video does help my channel grow and would be truly appreciated. Alright guys, so we're going to work on something today, and I thought this was sized for the mini, but I can see that it is sized for the classic. However, we're going to use it. And what I'm going to be doing in this video is making a DIY skinny mini notebook. And we're going to use all of these things here. So I had picked this up once the back to school sale stuff had gone on sale, and I want to say this was just a few dollars. I mean, it was on sale, otherwise I wouldn't have picked it up because I don't generally use these. So I'm going to get 2 of these. And so we'll use this pink one, and we'll use this kind of tealy blue one, and we'll keep this to the side. I suppose we could actually use all 3. So we're going to use these as our covers. Now here in Hawaii, I cannot source these little notebooks, the little skinny minis. I mean, they're brand new, so that makes sense. But I can't also source the half sheet, the notebooks, the planners, or anything. There are none of them here in Hawaii. I did go to the one store that might have it. It's Ben Franklin. It's something else now. It's like Housemart or something, but it's Ben Franklin's to me. And they don't have it. They do have some Happy Planner things. It's typically $3 to $4 more than what you'll find on the Happy Planner site. There's very rarely a sale, and usually it's just all of the old stuff that I can get much cheaper on Amazon. So I thought, well, let me take a stab at making my own. I believe someone in my Facebook group, and I didn't look, I think it was Deandra, but it actually could have been someone else. But someone in my Facebook group had Happynichi Inspiration, had made a skinny mini. I don't know that she showed how she did it, but I cut down paper all the time, so that's what I'm going to be doing today. And what I'm going to be using by way of paper is both this and this. So this is mini regular sized paper that we'll be cutting down just for demonstration purposes. But this is what I will be making my notebook of. And these I had picked up because I think I picked up 1 or 2 of these from joanns.com back in June because, one, I really am enamored of the Wrong collection, but mostly because the Monstera spine, I think it's really pretty. And I mean, for you guys in the mainland, this is probably too tropical summery, but here in Hawaii, I mean, I could look at this all year round and it would be beautimous. So we're going to be using this as well. So I don't know if you are aware, but if you cut down a classic sized page to get a half sheet, which is what's used in the Skinny Classic, you can only get 1 half sheet out of every classic piece of paper. So a half sheet for the Happy Notes or the Happynichi or the Skinny Classic measures 9 by 2.5, so that's 9 by 0.25 tall by 4.18 wide. So this is the size of a classic, Skinny Classic, half note, half sheet, whatever you want to call it. This obviously is not the same size. If you do want to get 2 half sheets, then you actually need to cut it from a big, and I have videos that talk about that. This here, and let me move this for a minute. This is just slightly bigger than the new, or the skinny minis. I actually don't think they're new. I think they've been out for a while. But if you line this up width-wise, it is just a smidgen longer than the actual Skinny Mini. I like saying that. And it's about 1/4 of an inch. So this is the actual Skinny Mini size, and this would be the Skinny Mini notebook, I assume. I've been trying to get on the Happy Planner website, but I haven't been able to get it. It times out on me, so I don't even know how much those little notebooks cost. But again, if you're like me and you end up doing lots of DIYs just because you don't have access, and there are just some things, at least for me, I want to be able to look at. So I don't know that I want to buy a notebook that I haven't seen online, because I mean, the classic size, at least I know the size of it. But these little ones, you know, I don't know how much they cost, so I don't know if I want to invest my time and money in that if it's just sight unseen. So we've got this, and clearly it's going to be too long. And so when I measured this out from one edge to the next, it is 2.58 inches wide by the regular 7 inches tall. So we need to cut these down again. And I want to cut them before I punch them so that when I do punch them, they're all the same. Because if I punch them and then cut them, my punch edges can be a little weird. Now, my work surface is tiny. So let me cut these down, and when I've cut these all down, I'll bring you back. All right, so I've got these cut down to the 7 inches tall, and I think that's cute. This is an off cut of something I was working on earlier. And then for these, I'm just going to cut a couple, because I want to see how much is left over. If you cut it down to size. So 2 5/8, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/8, right there. So it's just a little bigger than halfway. And so it looks like it's basically just the white part. So if you just had 2 of the white parts, not the little edge where the punch is, then those would be even spaced. But because you have to take into account the punched edge, that's why these 2 are not equal. Because I was wondering that. So that is going to be the same height as these, but again, because I don't want to waste, I'm not going to cut that little piece off. I'm just going to keep it as is. If you did want to make yours exactly the same size as a Skinny Mini, then you're going to want to cut yours 7 inches tall by 2 5 inches wide. This here, 2 5/8 inches wide, is 2 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7/8. 2 7/8. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 2 7/8, because it's only, and I don't know if you can see it, and I'm horrible at measurements, but let me just Sharpie this up. So 2 5/8 is this one right there. 2 7/8 is this one right there. So the difference between the 2 is just, that's 1/4 of an inch. And this is gonna sound horrible, guys, but because it's not on a solid line, yeah, I don't know what that is. Oh, and let's cut these down because we need to cut them from a classic size to 4, 6, 8, 9. Yeah, classic size to a mini. And the way that we'll do that is we'll just cut to keep this up here, and we'll line up the top of this with the 7. Actually, we'll do it 7 and 7.5 would be that. Let's do 7.25 because I don't have one, and I don't mean to keep harping on this, but I'm not making a replica. I'm just doing a DIY dupe version of it. Now, it does cut through. This blade is rather dull, so that works well with these because I don't have to worry that it's going to make it even duller, but I don't know if that's a word, but I will need to change this out soon because it will snag my paper if I'm not careful. Oh, I hope I cut that right. 2, 4, 6, 7, yeah. All right, so we want to line the top of this. We're not lining the top of the tab to the 7.25, so 7.25. And it's easier if you have one of these cutters and you're cutting against something thick to push into it rather than to start up here and pull down, because this can move, and I learned that the hard way. So we're just gonna cut through that one as well. And then we'll do the same thing with this. Now, this is a really sturdy plastic, plus it's already punched, and I had it in my stash, but you can use plastic placemats or plastic cutting boards, or if you have a plethora of covers from Happy Planner, again, that are punched, then it just saves you a step. All right, so I want this as my front cover. I want this as my back cover, and then this will be my middle cover. Oh, and I am seeing the flaw in the design because it's not that wide. Okay, it's fine. So if the paper is 2 5/8, and luckily I did that handy dandy mark there, then if we cut this down at 3, then that definitely should be wide enough for our book. And again, so that's going to be our cover. And we'll cut this one at 3. Now you could use an X-Acto knife and do this, and be very careful if you do, but I don't have a lot of luck with that, and I can just use my upper body strength and just jam this through. So again at 3. And these I'm going to keep because I can use a single hole punch and punch some things in, and I think these make some great dividers or bookmarks or anything, so I won't throw these away. And now, okay, well, I don't know how I feel about that top there, but that's okay, we'll deal. And so we've got our cover, our middle, and our back. And I might, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna cut this back one off, or this middle one. And then the only one that will have a tab is the front one. So that will go in the middle there. And that punch didn't pop. And then I'll punch the paper. Now I do have the Happy Planner punch. This is made for the big, but that doesn't matter because there's enough holes here where I can just center it. And all I would do is just kind of eyeball, because you want 1 in the middle and then 3 on either side, and so long. So for me, what I would do is I would line it up to the X, and I'm hoping you guys can see that. And then that way I don't have to measure, and all of my paper should be punched at the same place. So line it up to the X and then punch. And that's what I typically do, so I just make myself little mental guidelines so that everything is always punched and there's no measuring that I need to do because clearly I'm not very good at that. So I'm going to punch all of these, and when I'm done, I'll bring you guys back. Alrighty, so I've got my paper punched, and I have just a ton of rings. And so let me put these together. And again, because I haven't been able to go on the Happy Planner site, I think these skinnies are just notes. I don't know that they're actually, they made them into a planner. But I think this would make a really good DIY Happynichi or Skinny Mini. I like how that sounds. If you were thinking about doing a daily planner or a week on 4 pages, I think that would work as well. Depending on how much you need to get done in a week, this might actually be good just as a week at a glance. I probably could get away with it because, you know, I'm a list maker. I can write very small, and usually my decorations take more space than anything else. But if you were more of a week on 2 pages, or if you were a daily, I think that would make a great little notebook. And then I think it would also make a great little on-the-go just notebook in general. Sorry, there's a bunch of noise going on. So just snap these in. And the reason why, I mean, there were already 3 there, is then you can use that as a divider. And then put these in. And did I not cut that wide enough? No, that's fine. So we've got our little Skinny Mini, and actually, I don't know if I'm going to throw this in my purse. I mean, I have my Happynichi with me all the time, so I don't know that I would. But if I were, I don't know if that would snag on anything. But then if I were to throw this in my purse, I'd probably make a cover for it. So, yeah, I'm not going to worry about that. And then I believe for this, the reason why they give you this is so that you can put it on the tab. So, I didn't place that correctly. So, it's a plan. These little offcuts I'm going to keep, as well as these right here. Oh, actually, we can put these in here. And again, it's just slightly bigger, but I think, again, for my purposes, it works because what I was using those offcuts for was my commonplace journal, because I didn't want to waste the paper. And if I'm using classic paper, that's what I do with it. If I'm using the big size paper, then all I have is the offcuts in the bottom. So I believe it was Miss Constance who asked me what I thought about these little Skinny Minis. And again, since I can't lay my hands on them, you know, I'd love to be able to flip through and just to see what the design is of the paper. Are they lined? Are they dot grid? But I think as a little on the go, I think this would make a great size. Again, if you did just a list, then of course, you know, it just is a notebook. But I think if you did Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then notes the week on 2 or 4 pages, then that would be good. If you did this as a week on a page, I think this would be great as well. And if you have, you know, different varying components, whether you have some minis that are old and you can cut down, if you have some of that mini paper, if you have some classic paper, because I have tons of Happy Notes because I love the paper and I love notebooks, then if you wanted to test this out, I will put the dimensions below. I prefer to put things in my blog, but it's not the time for it right now. So it'll be down below, and it's fairly simple. Now, if you can get them from the Happy Planner site, eventually they're going to be in stores, and they're not too expensive. Again, I don't know how much they are. Then just do that. I mean, I'm always of the opinion that if you can get it at a good cost and you don't have to take your time to do things, then by all means do so. But if you're like me and you just don't have access to the actual things, then, you know, there are ways that you can make dupes of it that I think can be just as functional. All right, guys. Oh, I see where my math error was. Sorry, because that's been bothering me. So because I was basing the cover off of this page, there isn't as much overhang as I thought. Now, there definitely is, because you can see right through the cover, but the page that I have is actually 2 7/8, but I think a 3-inch cover still works fairly well. All right, that was a squirrel kind of moment. That's it for me for now, guys. Let me know what you think of this skinny mini, this DIY skinny mini, and what would you use your little skinny mini for? I'd love to know in the comments below. Thank you for following me on this journey, and as always, aloha.